Okay, today we're going to be talking about the Keltec sub2000 Gen 2. I've wanted one for quite a while, just because I kind of like the philosophy of use on one of these. I think this makes a decent addition to my collection for literally one purpose, and that's something to take backpacking with me if I'm not going hunting. Like if I just want a rifle around the camp gun, something like that, this kind of fills that niche. So we'll go ahead and we'll take it down to the bench and we will take a look at it and see what you get for your money. Okay, out of the box, what do you get? You get the firearm itself. You get one 17 round P-mag. This one is set up for Glock 17 mags. I haven't had problems with P-mags in the past until the other day. And then I had one crack right here during a competition and it became a bullet fountain. These are like 12, 13 bucks, something like that. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but this will take standard Glock magazines as well. Also in the box you get the firearm itself, you get the manual for maintenance and care, all that good stuff. And that's it. Oh, you do get a sticker for your truck too. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. But that's it. That's all you get out of the box. So I guess we'll start with how you deploy this bad boy. It does not come with this Midwest Industries. I put that on. So you deploy this. Just a little switch in the back. And we'll start at the front. You get a 1/2 x 28 threaded barrel with a thread protector on there. You get kind of like a excuse me, A2 style front post here. You get a forward Picatinny rail up top, and you get a forward Picatinny rail on the bottom. Very long. You can attach lights, lasers, infrared lasers, whatever you want. And then you get 5 M-LOK slots on either side of the rifle. Moving down here, you get your trigger guard, which doubles as your takedown. You pull this down, push that up, and the rifle folds in half. You get a safety, which I do not believe is ambidextrous, and it is not. It's decent. It's okay. It's not too bad. You get a rear sight. You'll notice on mine that this rear sight did not deploy when I opened the firearm. Normally it does. And this is, I will say, my fault and the fault of the big box store that sold me this, as this was clearly a used firearm that they sold to me as new. It was labeled as new. The one I picked up and looked at in the store was a new MP or Smith & Wesson M&P mag compatible. And I asked them if they had anything for the Glock. They went in the back and they said, hey, we do have one for Glock 17. I was like, okay, I'll take it. And on the box, even on the box, on the sticker, it did say new. And I'm not going to call these guys out or this company out for doing this, but it was clearly used. And how I know it was used is this was monkeyed with. As you can see, the front post in there just wiggles around like crazy. Somebody tried to mess with it and they didn't know how to do it exactly. They probably took this screw here that tightens it down all the way out, didn't Loctite it when they tried to set it in place. And then also something that they did was they broke off. So deploy my sight now, you have to actually get something to pry it up and pull it out. So I'm gonna leave it here. But here and here on this rifle, there should be 2 tabs that line up with this groove here and this groove here. So when you deploy it, it automatically flips the sight into the upwards position, like so. Not a big deal. I can pop those up if I need to. If my actual red dot goes out, I can, I'll have a knife on me and I can pull that up. Not a huge deal, but kind of scuzzy of the seller of this firearm for not disclosing that it was actually a used firearm and not a new firearm. Also my fault. I should have checked out the firearm, and I would have noticed that right away had I known, or had I not trusted a big box store. But anyway, so that's the rear sight. It's just a peep sight situation. They work relatively well if you can get this to stay still. I'm not super concerned about that because I do have a red dot for it, and if I need to, I can adjust that. Then moving further down, you have this here. This pretty much holds the two halves together. It kind of turns. I like to call this the beard ripper, because as you fire this gun, if you put your face right here, like I do on this firearm, especially if you're aiming down the iron sights, when this starts moving itself free and walking backwards, it will get your beard hair caught in that and rip it out super fast. We have a cross bolt safety here. Not a huge fan, but it's a safety. I like that. I mean, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, I guess. And then you get this rear buttstock here. For me, this one is adjustable. It has 3 different adjustment positions. I am not a huge fan of it. It's just polymer. There's quite a bit of play in it. As you can see, it wiggles around just a little bit. Nothing special about it. It does not have any QD mounts on it at all. It does have a spot here for a sling if you were to choose to put a sling on this. And then here you have your charging handle. It kind of, it's weird, but you push it down and it'll slam forward. I will say, I have taken this to the range several times with, a lady friend of mine, and she has had issue with racking this back. It is a very tight system. It is a blowback operated system, so the bolt's heavy. The spring is very, very heavy inside here. So we'll slide this back. So what do I have mounted on it? I do have this Midwest Industries red dot mount on here. And the reason I chose to do this is because if you were to mount a red dot on this rail, first, to get over your sights, and this is just a Bushnell's TR25 or something like that. If you were to mount this directly on this rail, you wouldn't even be able to see through your front post. So you need a riser on it. But regardless, riser or not, once you mount it directly to the top rail, in anything you mount to the top rail, you lose the function of being able to fold the rifle, which is kind of problematic. Other issues that I'm not a huge fan of is if you look here, this is chewed up, and that's because I accidentally mounted this to here and then had to take it off, and I noticed it did a lot of damage. It's not the highest quality polymer. Another thing that I think is weird is all of these bolts on here, they all look like you could go to your local hardware store, pick up new bolts, and replace them if you needed to. I think that's both bad and good. I think it's kind of cheaply made, but at the same time, if you needed to, you could go to a local hardware store, and that's actually really good versus ordering specific parts for a firearm online. This Midwest Industries mount, I do like this a lot. It does allow me to move my sight out of the way, fold the firearm up, and move it back. With that, you also get this super tactical paracord that you tie around your charging handle in the event that you smack that and it goes forward and smashes your glass. Just, added little protection with it. I'm not going to show you how to take this down, and the reason for that is it is a humongous pain to take apart and put back together for general maintenance. So it's one of the hugest downfalls to this rifle or PCC, in my opinion. I've owned many PCCs. I absolutely love PCCs. I've had the Scorpion Evo, I've had Keltec, I have an AR9 that I run in competitions for PCC, and this is by far the hardest one to disassemble and reassemble. Disassembly requires you pushing this pin out, pulling your spring and your bolt out of the back, and then you have access to the spring and the bolt, and that's it. Then you'd have to fold this, clean the barrel, clean this all out the best you can. It is a humongous pain, and then putting it back together, there is a pin inside here, or hammer or something inside here, that to get it to go back together, you actually have to push it back with your finger inside the bolt, which is just, for me, kind of scary. And it has to be in a certain position, and then you can slide your bolt over that, and it's terrible. This is one of the worst things about this firearm. Armed Precision has a video on how to disassemble and reassemble this firearm that's very in-depth, and actually, even though I read the owner's manual, I had to look at his video to figure out how to take this down and reassemble it, because it is that much of a pain. So, that being said, to fold it back up, I already showed you. You just lift this up, do this. This is what I was talking about. If you have an optic, it just won't fold closed, and that's where the Midwest Industries, I do like this, that they really thought this through. It just folds up under, and then you can put it in your backpack again. That's really intuitive thinking on their part. I wish this could have been a little bit better than just a paracord, but I'm fine with a paracord. I can, tie a knot, so that's good. I would compare this to other PCCs, but I don't really think this one compares. I think this falls in a category of its own. So I will show you a couple videos of shooting and how well it suppresses, which I was actually really surprised at how well it does suppress as far as gas blowback is concerned. And then I will give you my final thoughts on it.
One magazine with 10, one with 11. The one with 11 put in your magazine pouch, and the one with the 10 make a ready firearm. Okay? For you, 3 magazines, one with 10, one with 2, one with 9. The 2 put in your magazine. The one with 9 put in the firearm and holster. 10, 2, 9. If you are 11 in the pouch, 10 ready. Now, I realized I talked about the class, but I didn't. About the fundamental. The thing is, you're aiming. I talked about your grip, but you're aiming. Now, what is the thing you should be focusing on when you're aiming? Give you a little tap. When you do attack reach, hold it back.
Okay, so my final thoughts on the Keltec sub2000. You'll see reviews raving about this, and you'll see reviews saying that it's a complete pile of crap. Where does it fall? In my opinion, it falls close. It's not a complete pile of crap, but it's closer to that end of it. So really quick, going over the things that I don't like about this. Don't like the buttstock on it at all. Neither position on here works for me. The charging handle is very hard to charge it, especially if you're a weaker person. I've had some women that I've taken out with me that just they can't even lock it back. It's tight in there, which I understand why they did that. It is a direct blowback. They do need some heavy duty springs back here. This thing gets filthy, like your whole hand, dirt, or not dirt, but debris comes out of the trigger, and out of the port, and your hands after shooting probably even just 10 rounds are going to be black. That's terrible. The trigger's terrible. A lot of firearms get away with terrible triggers when they are rifles, and that's fine. I can deal with it. Another thing I hate is this upper Picatinny rail. I don't need it. It serves literally no purpose, as you can't mount anything to it and have it folded. The sights, they're just okay. They're not the greatest peep sights. They're not the worst peep sights, but again, they're not great at all. And my last complaint about it is this. When you have it folded, this is open. You put this in your bag or you have it strapped to your backpack, you fall in the mud, whatever. Debris can get in here and it's gonna cause problems. I would have liked to see a cap come with it that just kind of folds out of the way, or maybe when you deploy it, just like the sight, it moves out of the way or something just to cover those up. But overall, it's a good concept. Things that I do like about it. It's fun to shoot. I will 100% give it that. It is fun to shoot. Like taking this out, plinking with it, it's fun. It's super lightweight. I could strap this to my backpack and go all day and not even really think about it. And the third thing that is a real plus for me on this is it suppresses surprisingly well. Now, I'm not a huge fan that it doesn't have a QD mount, which I'm sure I could find a QD mount and, you know, stake it on here or whatever. But the thing that I liked is I pit this up against a PTR MP5 clone, thinking that the roller delay blowback would let less gas shoot into my face. That was not the case. Surprisingly, this guy did not shoot gas directly into my face. And I'll roll in a little video of that happening. Overall, I wouldn't even say it's a mid-tier gun. It's a lower tier gun that functions. And that's its saving grace, is it works. I have had zero malfunctions with it. It works. Is it the greatest? No. Is it the absolute worst? No, it's not. I mean, I do have a lot of complaints, a lot of things that I hate about it, but it still works, and it's a fun little plinker, and I will definitely be keeping this and you know, taking this backpacking with me. And that's one of the other things that I really like about it, is the fact that when it's folded like this and it's strapped to my backpack, this is a lot more intimidating than a full-size rifle is. Like, people look at this and they're like, that guy's not that much of a threat. You know, if I'm out in the woods hiking, they're like, oh, okay, he's got a camp gun, whatever. They don't think like, why does that guy have an AR-15? It is a less intimidating firearm, and I do like it, as much as there was a lot of negative things about it. And the last very negative thing that I have to say about it is taking this thing apart and putting it back together is an absolute pain. It is the worst rifle ever to take apart and put back together. So until next time, God bless.